I mean, look at George Kittle yesterday. I mean, that guy just ran free, man. Like, that guy wasn't touched before his 212th yard receiving. You know what I mean? Like,
let me ask you.
I don't understand.
Let me ask you this. This is about Kittle. Kittle's dominant. Like, he's really, really good. Next year, who's the first tight end drafted? Who's the second tight end drafted? I have my answer, and I think you know what I'm getting at.
I think Kittle is number 3.
Number 3, okay.
Yeah, behind Kelce and Ertz.
Yeah,
I know Gardner is there. I'd still give Ertz number 2 for now because he had a great year, and I'd have Kittle number 3. Did you have a different top 3?
No, you're probably right. But does that mean Gronk is 4? Like, I mean, Gronk might retire. We don't know, but
yeah.
Maybe
I think he's going to
retire this year means next year he should be higher than 4.
I think he's going to retire because he played well against the Dolphins, but he still looks so like, I don't know, man. He doesn't look athletic at all. It just looks like he's –
Are you just thinking about that last play of the game, though, when Drake ran past him and he stumbled?
No, I'm talking about the touchdown that he scored.
Yeah. He does look more lumbering now. He does not – he doesn't look as fluid as he has been. I mean, he's always been a huge guy, but like part of what makes him so special is that he's a huge guy who moves like he's been able to move. And he doesn't quite move like that anymore, which means now he's just a huge guy who moves pretty well. But like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I think
tight end is going to suck next year again for everybody. But I feel like every time you see Gronk catching the ball, like he's taking a lick.
Yeah,
like he hasn't caught a ball and like gone down like without getting like a huge shot to him.
No, it's true. It's worrisome. Whereas Kittle can go untouched, you know. Kelce can go untouched. Ertz can go untouched, you know. Gronk is not. Gronk is he's a contact magnet now, you know.
And Hunter Henry could be a top 5 option maybe next year.
Maybe, but that would be a lot. That would be a lot to give a guy just on opportunity. I mean, I know he looked good before he got hurt, but like that's like drafting Dalvin Cook 5th overall among running backs this year. You know, like yeah, Cook's good, but he's more like the 10th or 11th running back off the board, not 5, right?
Burton hasn't been great fantasy wise. Greg Olsen didn't really come through. Ebron's been good, but you can't draft him feeling great about.
No, not at all. Ebron's production is like obviously there's something that Ebron does really well, and they prefer to use him in certain spots, and it's very lucrative. But like, I don't think Ebron's that great a player, right? I think he's a quite flawed player, but you know, yeah, he probably would be in that mix, right? My Evan Engram vision.
You do need a tight end though, for sure. Like, if you're gonna succeed in fantasy in the playoffs, you want to be going in with one of those 3 guys. I mean, ideally, you'd like to get one of those 3 tight ends. Probably you separate yourself.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Excuse me.
What are your thoughts on OJ Howard?
OJ Howard's pretty good. I think OJ Howard could end up being like, if you don't want to spend the draft picks or the auction money to get a Kelce and Ertz, a Kittle, or you know, whoever, Howard might be a nice little layup, like bang for buck kind of thing. So like, yeah, OJ Howard's really good.
What's your Gronk prediction?
Good or bad, that offense has production available. Cameron Brate is having big games here and there. Like you're right, tight end's a mess. It really is.
Yeah. What's your Gronk prediction for next year? Do you think he comes back?
I think he I don't know, man. And it might depend. If the Patriots manage to win the Super Bowl, I think Gronk is retired for sure. If they don't, I think it's 50-50 whether he comes back. But I think if he does come back, I bet you he gets hurt and doesn't finish the season.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I say he either comes back and plays like 4 games and goes on IR. I think he retires, man. I think it's over for Gronk.
It's amazing. He's like, it's funny that like all the rules about hitting and stuff like that, they don't seem to help keep Gronk any safer, you know, because it's like Gronk is so much taller than everybody, that they weren't going for his head anyway. And you know, and it's like because he's slowing down a little bit, all it is just, and he's never defenseless. He's never it's like he's Gronk, so he's never defenseless because he's always in his body, which means that like people can just put a shoulder at his hip anytime. You know, put a shoulder in his lower back anytime. There's no rule against hitting Gronk in the lower back.
Yeah.
And it's feel bad for him. And I think he should get out of there. Just protect his own quality of life going forward, man. But that's true of every football player to some degree. But
I guess some teams want to prioritize the tight end a little more in their offense. I mean, this guy who came into Miami, Gesicki, I think his name is, he's a rookie. He sort of has that athletic body type of a tight end future stud. You know, he seems to have the metrics. Goddard had the metrics. Baltimore drafted this guy, Hayden Hurst. Yeah. There's guys. There's definitely guys, but they don't get more balls.
Yeah, because I think what it is you know, we talked earlier in the year about how it's not about having a superstar receiver; it's about having a receiving core, right? And then the same thing now. Secondaries, it's not about having one star defensive back; it's about having a good unit, right? It's like it's not about who has the best cornerback one; it's about who has the best nickel corner, right? And I think the value in a lot of these tight ends is that the matchup nightmare that they provide, right? Because you know, guys like Kelce and Ertz and all these guys, they can physically handle a nickel cornerback, you know, and then they can outrun a linebacker. And it's like that. Yeah, it's almost like tight ends are going to start becoming they're super valuable to an offense. And like, I think to a fantasy offense too. I think that's why at the beginning of the year, we always talk about like, you know, there's all the pass on this guy, take this guy 10 rounds later. And everybody's so proud of themselves for like, look how good my team can be with the worst players. But I think it's more just about, you got to chase stars, right? Difference makers. And I think that's why like these, like, I think these Kelce, Ertz, these guys, like the elite tight ends, should be drafted ahead of, you know, middle RB2 kind of guys. Because, like, you know, once you get to like RB1.5, all these guys, like whoever's the 17th best running back is not that much different than the 28th best running back when you're drafting them in August, right? So it's like, don't worry about him. Don't worry about that guy. Yeah. Don't worry about like some of these top like 18, 19 receivers. Like, they're not studs. They're not superstars, right? They're just maybe pretty good players and pretty good offenses. But like,
it's a good point about matchup. It's a good point about matchups because tight ends are always matchup proof. Yeah. The matchup is they're going to be used and they're going to be schemed and they're going to get their targets, and they don't have Patrick Peterson covering them, or you know, they don't have that stud corner on them all the time. So.
Right, I think you're right, man. You never hear about like, oh, Kiko Alonso is so good at shedding. Like, Kiko Alonso is a really productive tight end, linebacker for fantasy, purposes. But like, you never hear about like, you know, Nigel Bradham is just like a tight end's worst nightmare. Like, you don't hear that. You never do because there's nothing to that, you know.
So, I mean, I guess it's a stupid question, but if in terms of drafting next year, maybe zero RB is not a strategy, but maybe one RB is a strategy. Get your bell cow. Get your wide receiver one, and then I think try and get your tight end in the third round, and then you have that guy, and then you go forward with the rest of your draft, just rounding out the rest of your positions.
Yeah,
not terrible.
Maybe that's not. Yeah, I think maybe like you try to like you go for your. So I think the only thing with that then is almost like, so if we're looking at 4 key positions: running back, receiver, tight end, quarterback. You probably, you just want to get 3 studs, right? 3 studs, one at each position. You probably can't just go for 4 studs. It doesn't make sense. Even if you thought you could, I don't think they're not all going to be there, right? Because like, you know, if you go for a Kelce or a Kittle to go along with your Melvin Gordon and your, you know, DeAndre Hopkins, whatever, right? You know, you get a stud at each position. In the 4th round, there won't be any studs left for you to get, you know, because now you're looking at Kirk Cousins at quarterback or something like that. Now you're looking at, you know, whichever position, you know. So I think, but yeah, I think just go for 3 studs. Yeah. Studs matter more than positions. Just is that player an absolute super duper star? Then try to go get him, you know.
I agree, and I think the tight end position is going to get better in fantasy in the next few years, though. I think it's going to change again. I think because of all the passing, they're seeing that these tight ends can be difference makers.
Mhm.
I mean, even Jared Cook, to some extent, had a good fantasy year this year, and he was definitely, not that you want to be scheming the same way that John Gruden wants to call plays, but I think the tight end is going to get to be a little more relevant, and you might even have decent, top 10 in a few years of 10 relevant tight ends, possibly.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think the idea of a tight end being a hybrid of a receiver and a lineman, that's kind of going away. And you're gonna always be able to find blocking tight ends like on the waiver. Like NFL teams are always gonna be able to find blocking tight ends on the waiver wire and stuff like that, and sign them off the street. But I think the NFL tight end is turning into the CFL slot back. You know, where it's more just like, no, they are a skill player. That's what they are. But because we can't find 4 guys with 4.4 speed, one of them is just going to be 6'4" and have really broad shoulders. It's like, I think that's what's happening, and that's cool too, because it's not like, it's like, because there are like these old football diehards that are complaining about the physicality being removed from football. And to some extent, that is happening, in the sense that it's not just smash mouth, run the ball kind of thing anymore. But like, there's a lot of physicality in a tight end catching the ball. You know what I mean? It's just moving that physicality down the field more. And I don't know, like everything. You can't complain about things evolving. They evolve the way they're supposed to. Like you can't alter it. It just it goes, right. And I think this is the way it's evolving, and I think that's I will look forward to a future in which like there are enough quality tight ends to go around an entire fantasy league. I'm looking forward to that.
Great. It'd be awesome, instead of this like top 3 and that's it. Good. It's definitely, I feel like there's a renaissance in football right now in terms of passing and offense, and the rules have changed for sure to make that happen. But it's exciting to watch, and especially as fantasy players, we're always adjusting our draft strategies and our roster, construction to go with what's happening, and it's fun. So yeah,
that's a generational leap in talent, right? And that's what it is. It's like you have a generation now of tight ends who were running routes and catching passes in high school, not just blocking. It's things like that. It's like now the idea of you can be 6'5", but you're still fast, and you can still move and be a skill position player. Like, previous generations, once you got big enough, they just thought of you as a big lumbering guy, and then now it's not true anymore. Now these guys, even though they're kids and they're growing up to be huge, they're also growing up thinking I can be fast, and they're training themselves to be fast. Like it's just the next generation in talent. It's kind of like how in basketball, you don't see the slam dunk competition get a little bit better every single year. It's just it happens every generation, right? Michael Jordan saw Dr. J and then grew up to outdo what Dr. J did, right? Vince Carter saw Michael Jordan and then grew up to outdo what Michael Jordan did. Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon watched Vince Carter and then grew up to be, you know what I mean? And some kids are watching Zach LaVine dunk, and then they're going to dunk from the 3-point line in 20 years. Like it's that, that's what's going to happen.
It's going to happen very soon. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So maybe 2-3 years, every team will have a Gronk on their roster. So
yeah, positionless football. Everyone's going to be able to run, catch, throw, and block.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for the defenses, but
well, then they'll respond too. Because then somebody's going to get a huge contract for being the guy who could chase down all those guys, and then a bunch of kids are going to grow up wanting to be like that guy.
Pretty much. It's awesome.
It's all a cycle. It's beautiful. Time is a flat circle.
It's very cool. Very cool. Well, that's those are some good food for thought going into the offseason based on our tight end view. And thank you for watching.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow and Friday to talk more about Week 15. So if you're still in it, great. Let's keep it going. Let's hope we can figure out what we're gonna see this coming weekend. But otherwise, just as always, thanks for watching.